In 1946, Admiral Richard E. Byrd led Operation High Jump, officially described as a routine Antarctic mapping mission. But secret documents show the trip discovered something amazing beneath the ice, an untouched ancient city with buildings and technology that came thousands of years before known civilization. The discovery was immediately made secret, and Byrd spent the rest of his life under watch for what he called the most important discovery in human history. Operation High Jump involved 4,700 men, 13 ships, and 33 aircraft, a huge force for a simple mapping mission. The official story claimed they were setting up Antarctic bases and testing equipment in polar conditions. But Byrd's personal diary, released decades after his death, tells a very different story. On February 19, 1947, Byrd's diary describes flying over the Antarctic interior when his aircraft instruments began breaking near what looked like an ice-free valley. As they went down, his team discovered impossibly warm areas where the ice had melted to reveal ancient stone structures built with exactness that exceeded modern building methods. The structures weren't simple shelters, but complicated buildings using building rules that wouldn't be developed by known civilizations for thousands of years. The stonework showed evidence of advanced cutting and lifting methods with huge blocks fitted together so perfectly that no cement was needed. Most amazing was the discovery of what looked like technology objects within the buildings. Metal objects with features that couldn't be identified by current science. Some devices appeared to be making heat that kept the surrounding area ice-free despite the polar environment. Byrd's team documented extensive picture writing carvings that didn't match any known ancient writing systems. The symbols appeared to describe advanced science ideas, including space calculations, math formulas, and what looked like technical drawings for unknown machinery. When Byrd reported his findings to military authorities, he was immediately ordered to stop exploring and return to base. The Warm Valley was declared off-limits, and all documentation was classified under the highest levels of national security. Upon returning to the United States, Byrd was subjected to extensive questioning sessions and ordered never to discuss his Antarctic discoveries publicly. His later interviews focused only on standard polar exploration while avoiding any mention of the ancient structures. The most scary part of the cover-up was the organized removal of evidence. Photographs taken during the trip disappeared from official files. Team members were moved to different assignments and stopped from talking with each other. And Byrd's original reports were classified so completely that their existence was denied. Modern satellite pictures of Antarctica show unusual geometric patterns beneath the ice in areas matching Byrd's described locations. However, these regions remain restricted to scientific access, and international agreements prevent independent investigation of the unusual structures. The Antarctic discovery shows proof that advanced civilization existed in polar regions long before accepted human history. But this knowledge has been systematically hidden to prevent challenges to established archaeological timelines and maintain control over revolutionary discoveries. In 1925, British explorer Colonel Percy Fawcett launched his final expedition into the Amazon rainforest, searching for a lost civilization he called Zed. Fawcett's team discovered evidence of advanced city planning, complicated agriculture, and metal-making methods that exceeded current abilities. The expedition vanished without a trace, but recently released secret documents reveal their discoveries were so important that multiple governments worked together to hide all evidence of their findings. Fawcett had spent years researching Portuguese colonial documents that described encounters with highly organized native cities featuring paved roads, multi-story buildings, and populations numbering in the hundreds of thousands. These accounts contradicted accepted beliefs about Amazon civilizations being small, simple tribes. The expedition team included Fawcett's son, Jack, and photographer Raleigh Rimmel, who documented their journey with detailed maps, photographs, and notes that were sent back to England through native messenger networks until the communication suddenly stopped. Their final messages described discovering huge earthwork formations that created complicated farming systems capable of supporting large populations in challenging rainforest environments. The farming methods included soil improvement methods that created incredibly fertile terra preta deposits, still found throughout the Amazon. Most amazing were reports of metalworking workshops that had produced mixtures unknown to current science. Fawcett described finding tools and decorative objects made from metals that were lighter than aluminum but stronger than steel, suggesting advanced understanding of material science. The team documented building remains showing evidence of city planning that used advanced engineering rules. Roads were built with drainage systems. Buildings were designed to withstand floods and earthquakes. And the city showed evidence of complicated water management that channeled seasonal flooding for farming benefit. When Fawcett's communication stopped, the Royal Geographical Society launched multiple rescue expeditions, but searchers found no trace of the missing team. However, they did discover native populations who possessed detailed knowledge of the lost cities and claimed the explorers had been taken by the Guardians to prevent their secrets from reaching the outside world. Decades later, investigation revealed that Fawcett's discoveries had been watched by spy agencies from Britain, Brazil, and the United States. The advanced Amazon civilizations showed evidence that could challenge colonial justifications for conquering simple peoples and prove that native populations had achieved complicated development. Modern archaeological research has confirmed many of Fawcett's theories about advanced Amazon civilizations, but investigations into his specific discoveries are blocked by government claims that the areas contain sensitive native territories that cannot be accessed by outside researchers. Satellite pictures show geometric patterns in remote Amazon regions that match Fawcett's described locations, including roadway networks and city formations that suggest complicated city planning. However, these areas remain restricted to unauthorized research. The Amazon vanishing shows the organized hiding of evidence, proving that native civilizations achieved advanced development that challenges established stories about technology progress and provides inconvenient truths about the skill of cultures that were systematically destroyed by colonial expansion. In 1924, Russian explorer Nicholas Roerich led an expedition across Central Asia and Tibet that discovered ancient manuscripts containing advanced scientific knowledge, detailed maps of unknown lands, and prophetic texts describing future technology developments with impossible accuracy. The expedition's findings were so amazing that Soviet authorities immediately classified all documentation and placed team members under permanent watch. Roerich's expedition was officially cultural and artistic research, but classified Soviet documents reveal the true mission was finding specific manuscripts that Buddhist monks claimed contained knowledge from the stars. Advanced scientific information supposedly preserved from prehistoric civilizations. The team discovered hidden libraries in remote Tibetan monasteries containing thousands of manuscripts written in unknown writing systems. When translated by scholarly monks, the texts revealed smart understanding of astronomy, mathematics, and physics that exceeded current scientific knowledge by centuries. Most amazing were manuscripts containing detailed technical drawings for mechanical devices that worked according to rules unknown to modern engineering. The drawings showed machines for making energy, controlling weather patterns, and achieving flight using methods that didn't require burning fuel or regular propulsion. The texts included exact space calculations showing positions of space bodies that couldn't be watched without advanced instruments, suggesting ancient astronomers had access to technology equal to modern telescopes. The calculations extended thousands of years into the future with math exactness. Roerich documented prophecies describing future inventions, including devices for long-distance communication, mechanical transportation, and energy generation that matched developments that wouldn't happen until decades later. The accuracy of these predictions suggested access to information about technology development timelines. When Soviet authorities learned of the manuscript's contents, they ordered immediate taking of all materials and classified the expedition's findings under the highest levels of state secrecy. Team members were stopped from discussing their discoveries and placed under watch that continued for the rest of their lives. The most valuable manuscripts were moved to classified research facilities where Soviet scientists attempted to decode the advanced technical information for military uses. However, many of the described technologies required materials and manufacturing methods that wouldn't be developed for decades. Attempts by international scholars to access Rurik's Tibetan manuscripts have been consistently blocked by Russian authorities who claim the materials contain culturally sensitive religious information that cannot be shared with foreign researchers. Recent analysis of Rurik's surviving notes reveals references to manuscripts describing global disasters that happen in predictable cycles, advanced civilizations that achieve space travel, and technologies that could provide unlimited energy through methods that modern physics considers impossible. The Tibet manuscript hunt shows the organized hiding of ancient scientific knowledge that could revolutionize human understanding of technology and history, while providing evidence that advanced civilizations existed in prehistoric times with abilities exceeding current development. In 1922, American paleontologist Roy Chapman Andrews led expeditions into the Gobi Desert that discovered not only dinosaur fossils, but evidence of an advanced prehistoric civilization that possessed metalworking, mathematics, and space knowledge that challenged every assumption about human development. The discoveries were quietly taken by multiple governments and erased from archaeological records. Andrews' expedition was hunting for fossil evidence of early human evolution, but team geologist Walter Granger documented finding metal objects embedded in rock formations dating back millions of years, an impossibility according to accepted archaeological timelines. The objects included exactly machined metal objects showing evidence of advanced manufacturing methods, geometric forms that suggested complicated math understanding, and devices that appeared to be scientific instruments for space observation. Most amazing was the discovery of what appeared to be a preserved ancient laboratory containing equipment for metalworking, chemical analysis, and space calculation. The facility was carved into solid rock and showed evidence of advanced engineering that required tools and methods unknown to prehistoric populations. Carbon dating of organic materials found with the objects suggested they were millions of years old. But the skill of the metalwork indicated technology abilities that exceeded modern manufacturing. The contradiction challenged basic assumptions about the development of human civilization. Andrews documented finding extensive libraries carved into rock walls containing symbols and math formulas that showed advanced understanding of physics, astronomy, and engineering. The information included detailed star charts showing space positions from millions of years ago with accuracy that required complicated instruments. When expedition findings were reported to American and Mongolian authorities, officials from multiple countries came together at the site and immediately classified all discoveries. Team members were ordered to sign extensive secrecy agreements and stopped from publishing their findings. The ancient Gobi site was sealed and declared off-limits to further archaeological investigation. Official reports said the expedition's early ending was due to political instability while hiding the true reason for ending the research. Later attempts by international archaeological teams to investigate the Gobi discoveries have been blocked by Mongolian authorities who claim the areas contain culturally sensitive sites that cannot be accessed by foreign researchers. Recent satellite pictures show unusual geometric formations in remote Gobi regions that match Andrews' described locations, including carved structures and roadway patterns that suggest complicated city planning from prehistoric periods. The Gobi secret shows evidence that advanced technology civilization existed millions of years ago, challenging every accepted theory about human development and suggesting that complicated knowledge has been repeatedly achieved and lost throughout Earth's history. In 1913, Canadian explorer Vilhjalmur Stephenson discovered evidence in the Arctic that advanced human populations had lived in polar regions for far longer than accepted archaeological theory allowed. His expedition found complicated tools, building remains, and space instruments that suggested Arctic civilizations had achieved remarkable development in impossible environmental conditions. The discoveries were classified by the Canadian government, and Stephenson was stopped from further Arctic research. Stephenson's expedition was mapping uncharted Arctic territories when team members discovered structures buried in permafrost that showed evidence of advanced building methods. The buildings were designed to withstand extreme cold, using engineering rules that modern Arctic building still struggles to achieve. The structures contained complicated heating systems that worked without visible fuel sources, suggesting ancient Arctic peoples had developed energy-making methods unknown to current technology. The heating systems continued to work despite being buried in ice for centuries. Most remarkable were space instruments found within the structures that showed exact understanding of space mechanics. The devices could calculate planet positions, predict eclipses, and track long-term space cycles with accuracy that required advanced math knowledge. Tools discovered at the site were made from unknown metal mixtures that remained sharp and working despite extreme age and environmental exposure. Analysis revealed metal-making methods that produce materials better than current manufacturing. Stephenson documented finding extensive libraries carved into ice that contained symbolic writing systems describing advanced science ideas including mathematics, astronomy, and what appear to be technical manuals for the mysterious heating systems. The most amazing discovery was evidence that Arctic civilizations had maintained contact with populations in other regions through complicated transportation networks. Maps carved into ice show detailed knowledge of world geography, including areas that wouldn't be explored by modern expeditions for decades. When Stephenson reported his findings to Canadian authorities, government officials immediately classified all documentation and stopped further investigation. The Arctic sites were declared restricted areas, and access was limited to authorized government personnel. Team members were subjected to extensive interviews and required to sign agreements, never to discuss their discoveries. Stephenson's later Arctic expeditions were limited to standard geographical mapping while avoiding the areas where advanced civilizations had been discovered. Modern climate change has revealed additional Arctic structures as ice melts. But these discoveries are immediately secured by government agencies and removed from public awareness. International agreements prevent independent investigation of the unusual Arctic sites. The Arctic anomaly proves that advanced civilizations thrived in polar environments using technologies that enabled survival and development in conditions that modern populations consider barely livable, suggesting human adaptation and technology development happened far earlier and more extensively than accepted history admits. In 1947, Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl's Kon-Tiki expedition across the Pacific Ocean accidentally discovered evidence of advanced prehistoric sea civilizations that had achieved transoceanic navigation and established complicated trade networks thousands of years before accepted historical timelines. The discoveries challenged basic assumptions about ancient technology abilities and were systematically hidden by schools and universities. Heyerdahl's journey was intended to prove that prehistoric South Americans could have reached Polynesia using simple raft technology, but the expedition discovered evidence of far more complicated ancient sea abilities than anyone had imagined. During the Pacific crossing, the team encountered island populations who possessed detailed knowledge of ocean currents, weather patterns, and navigation methods that exceeded current sea science. The islanders described ancient trade routes connecting distant continents using methods unknown to modern shipping. Most amazing were discoveries of navigation instruments on remote islands that showed math and space knowledge that shouldn't have existed in prehistoric populations. The devices could calculate positions using star navigation with exactness that required advanced understanding of spherical trigonometry. Heyerdahl documented finding huge stone structures on uninhabited islands that showed evidence of advanced building methods. The stonework used engineering rules that enabled huge buildings to withstand earthquakes and tsunamis using methods that modern building has difficulty copying. The expedition discovered evidence of prehistoric mining operations that had extracted metals and minerals from islands and transported them across vast ocean distances. The mining showed evidence of methods for finding and processing materials that required complicated rock knowledge. Island populations described ancient civilizations that had possessed sky boats capable of flight and fire ships that could travel underwater, suggesting technology abilities that challenged accepted beliefs about prehistoric development limits. When Heyerdahl attempted to publish his findings about advanced prehistoric sea civilizations, schools and universities refused to accept evidence that contradicted established theories about ancient technology limits. Publishers rejected manuscripts that described impossible prehistoric abilities. The organized hiding got worse when Heyerdahl tried to organize follow-up expeditions to investigate the advanced Pacific civilizations. Funding was denied, permits were refused, and academic colleagues distanced themselves from research that threatened established archaeological rules. Modern ocean research has confirmed many of Heyerdahl's observations about ancient Pacific trade networks, but investigations into the advanced technology parts of his discoveries are discouraged through academic pressure and funding restrictions. The Pacific Mystery shows evidence that prehistoric civilizations achieved sea technology development that exceeded current abilities, suggesting that ancient populations possessed advanced knowledge and engineering skills that have been systematically written out of accepted history. In 1933, French archaeologist Henri Lot led an expedition into the Sahara Desert that discovered evidence of advanced prehistoric civilizations that had flourished in the region when it was still green and fertile. The team found complicated city remains, advanced watering systems, and rock art showing impossible technologies that challenged every assumption about African prehistoric development. The discoveries were classified by French colonial authorities, and Lot was stopped from publishing his most important findings. Lot's expedition was investigating prehistoric rock art in the Tassili region when team members discovered that the paintings weren't simple artistic expressions, but detailed technical drawings showing advanced mechanical devices and science ideas. The rock art showed complicated aircraft with design features that suggested understanding of aerodynamics, propulsion systems that didn't match any known prehistoric technology, and flight abilities that exceeded current aviation development. Most amazing were paintings showing figures in what appeared to be protective suits operating complex machinery, suggesting that prehistoric Saharan populations had developed technologies requiring specialized safety equipment and operational training. Archaeological digging revealed city remains buried beneath sand dunes that showed evidence of advanced city planning, including complicated water management systems, multi-story buildings built with exact engineering and manufacturing facilities for producing unknown technologies. The watering systems discovered by Lot's team showed water engineering that could have maintained farming civilization in challenging desert conditions using methods that modern engineering considers extremely complicated. Team members documented finding metal objects that showed evidence of advanced metalworking, including mixtures that couldn't be identified using current analysis methods and manufacturing exactness that exceeded modern abilities. When Lot reported his findings to French colonial authorities, officials immediately classified the most important discoveries and stopped publication of evidence that could challenge established beliefs about African technology development. The organized hiding was motivated by concerns that evidence of advanced prehistoric African civilizations could undermine colonial justifications for European technology superiority and suggest that complicated development had been achieved by populations that colonial authorities considered simple. Modern satellite pictures have revealed extensive archaeological remains beneath Saharan sands in areas matching Lot's discoveries. But international access to these sites is blocked by North African governments who claim the areas require protection from unauthorized digging. Recent analysis of Lot's surviving documentation reveals descriptions of discoveries that could revolutionize understanding of prehistoric African technology achievement. But the most important evidence remains classified in French files that are inaccessible to independent researchers. The Sahara expedition shows proof that advanced civilizations flourished in prehistoric Africa with technology abilities that have been systematically hidden to maintain established stories about African development and prevent acknowledgement of complicated native achievement. In 1938, German explorer Ernst Schaefer led a Tibet expedition that discovered evidence of advanced ancient technologies hidden in Himalayan monasteries, including devices that appeared to control gravity and energy sources that worked according to unknown rules. The expedition's findings were so amazing that both Nazi Germany and Allied spy agencies fought to control the discoveries, ultimately hiding all evidence to prevent either side from gaining technology advantages. Schaefer's expedition was officially studying Tibetan wildlife and culture. But classified documents reveal the true mission was finding advanced technologies that Tibetan legends claimed had been preserved from prehistoric civilizations. The team gained access to hidden rooms in remote monasteries containing devices that showed impossible abilities, including objects that floated without visible support and energy sources that made power without fuel or mechanical parts. Most amazing were demonstrations by Tibetan monks of consciousness-controlled technologies that responded to mental commands rather than physical touching, suggesting combining of human awareness with mechanical systems using rules unknown to current science. The devices appeared to work using rules that broke known physics, including apparent control of gravity fields, conversion of consciousness into mechanical energy, and control of electromagnetic forces through mental concentration rather than electronic systems. Schaefer documented extensive technical drawings carved into monastery walls that described the building and operation of the advanced devices. The information included math formulas and engineering rules that exceeded current scientific understanding. When Nazi authorities learned of the expedition's discoveries, they immediately sent additional teams to secure the technologies for military uses. However, Allied spy agencies had also learned of the findings and launched competing operations to prevent German access. The situation escalated into secret warfare in the Himalayas as multiple spy agencies fought to control access to the monasteries and their advanced technologies. The conflict resulted in the destruction of many objects and the sealing of the facilities to prevent further foreign access. Tibetan monks, recognizing the dangers of their preserved technologies falling into military hands, put in place plans for hiding or destroying the devices rather than allowing them to be used for warfare. After-war investigations by both American and Soviet spy agencies attempted to find the Himalayan technologies, but found that most devices had been hidden or destroyed during the wartime conflicts. Modern attempts to study the Himalayan discoveries are blocked by Chinese authorities who control Tibetan territories and stop independent research into the region's ancient technologies and preserved scientific knowledge. The Himalayan encounter shows evidence that advanced consciousness technology combining existed in prehistoric times and was preserved by Tibetan civilizations until world powers recognized its potential and fought to control discoveries that could revolutionize human understanding of the relationship between awareness and physical reality. In 1931, British archaeologist Grafton Elliott Smith led an expedition into the Australian outback that discovered Aboriginal sites containing evidence of advanced prehistoric knowledge, including space calculations, rock surveys, and technology abilities that exceeded current understanding. The discoveries were immediately classified by the Australian government, and Smith was stopped from publishing findings that could challenge established beliefs about native abilities. Smith's expedition was investigating Aboriginal archaeological sites to document simple cultural development, but the team discovered evidence of complicated scientific knowledge that contradicted every assumption about native technology limits. The sites contained rock art that showed advanced understanding of astronomy, including accurate star charts, planet movement calculations, and cosmic cycle predictions that required math knowledge exceeding current scientific abilities. Most amazing were rock surveys carved into rock that showed detailed knowledge of underground mineral deposits, water sources, and rock formations that suggested complicated understanding of earth sciences and mapping methods. Aboriginal guides showed navigation methods that used complex math calculations, environmental watching methods, and geographical knowledge that enabled exact positioning across vast distances without mechanical instruments. The expedition documented finding evidence of mining operations that had extracted materials using methods that modern geology considered extremely advanced, including exact identification of or deposits and complicated processing methods. Smith discovered that Aboriginal oral traditions contained detailed technical knowledge about environmental management, sustainable agriculture, and ecological balance that showed scientific understanding of complex biological and chemical systems. When Smith attempted to publish findings about advanced Aboriginal knowledge, Australian colonial authorities stopped release of information that could challenge established beliefs about native thinking abilities and threaten justifications for European technology superiority. The organized hiding was coordinated between British and Australian governments to prevent evidence of complicated native achievement from undermining colonial policies and cultural stories about European advancement. Schools and universities were told to reject research that credited Aboriginal populations with advanced scientific knowledge. And Smith's career was effectively ended when he continued trying to publish his discoveries. Modern research has confirmed many parts of Smith's findings about Aboriginal scientific knowledge, but investigations into the most advanced discoveries remain restricted by government claims about protecting native cultural secrets. The Australian blackout shows the organized hiding of evidence, proving that native populations possess advanced scientific knowledge and technology abilities that have been deliberately written out of accepted history to maintain stories supporting colonial cultural superiority. In 1952, Mexican archaeologist Alberto Ruz Luillier's expedition at Palenque discovered not only the tomb of Pakal the Great, but evidence that Maya civilization had possessed advanced technologies, including exact machinery, space computers, and energy systems that worked according to rules unknown to current science. The most amazing discoveries were classified by the Mexican government and removed from the archaeological site before international scholars could examine them. Ruz's digging of the Temple of Inscriptions revealed burial rooms containing technology objects that appeared to be complicated mechanical devices rather than ceremonial objects, suggesting Maya civilization had achieved factory development that exceeded accepted archaeological timelines. The objects included exact machine parts made from unknown materials that showed evidence of manufacturing methods requiring advanced tools and math knowledge. The mechanical exactness exceeded what should have been possible using accepted Maya technology abilities. Most amazing were devices that appear to be space computers capable of calculating planet positions, eclipse cycles, and cosmic events with accuracy that required understanding of advanced math ideas and access to exact watching data. The tomb contained energy-making systems that continued to work despite being sealed for over 1,000 years, suggesting Maya engineers had developed power sources that worked according to rules unknown to current technology. Ruz documented finding extensive technical drawings carved into hidden rooms that described the building and operation of the advanced devices. The information included math formulas and engineering specifications that exceeded modern scientific understanding. Analysis of the technology objects revealed that Maya civilization had achieved metalworking abilities that produced materials with features better than current manufacturing, including mixtures that were lighter, stronger, and more lasting than modern metals. When Mexican authorities learned of the expedition's technology discoveries, they immediately classified the findings and removed the most amazing objects from the site before international archaeological teams could do independent analysis. The organized hiding was motivated by concerns that evidence of advanced Maya technology development could challenge established stories about native abilities and force revision of accepted archaeological timelines. Schools and universities were pressured to focus on cultural and artistic parts of Maya civilization, while avoiding research into technology achievements that could prove complicated native development. Modern attempts to investigate the advanced parts of Maya technology are blocked by Mexican authorities who claimed that such research could damage fragile archaeological sites and violate native cultural protections. The Mayan revelation shows evidence that Maya civilization achieved technology development that has been systematically hidden to maintain established archaeological rules and prevent acknowledgement of advanced native scientific achievement that could challenge accepted timelines of human development. These 10 lost expeditions reveal a disturbing pattern. Whenever explorers discover evidence that challenges accepted historical stories, their findings are systematically hidden, their teams broken up, and their discoveries erased from the record. From Antarctic cities that come before known civilization to Arctic populations with impossible survival technologies, these expeditions found proof that human history is far more complex and advanced than we've been taught. What connects these discoveries isn't just their amazing nature, but the coordinated efforts to hide them. Government agencies, schools, and universities, and powerful interests have worked together to make sure that evidence of advanced ancient civilizations, complicated native technologies, and prehistoric achievements never reaches public awareness. The evidence suggests our understanding of human development has been deliberately limited to support specific stories about technology progress, cultural superiority, and historical timelines. These lost expeditions found proof that advanced knowledge and complicated civilizations have existed throughout human history. But this evidence threatens established power structures that depend on controlling information about our past. The organized hiding of these discoveries shows more than academic politics. It's the deliberate theft of human heritage. Somewhere in classified files and sealed sites lie the discoveries that could revolutionize our understanding of what human civilization has achieved and what we're truly capable of accomplishing.